All right, NC750X. This is a very interesting bike. It's pretty cool because it does have some actually a good amount of storage. I believe you can almost put a full face in there. It kind of has some indentation letting you know it has had a full face in there. And then the gas tank is actually, if you turn it this way, it's underneath the seat. So this is a very special bike. And one thing to make it's already special, and then one thing to make it even more different. Where's my clutch? It's a DCT. So basically what that means is that it's automatic. Just take a car, put it into drive, and there's your drive. And then basically if I want to switch from automatic to manual, there's a little trigger over here, and then once I hit those triggers I have a plus and a minus. So using those pluses and minuses, I decide to shift up or down a gear, which I think is pretty fair considering that one of the biggest complaints you'll hear about this bike is it chose the wrong gear for me. Well, if you're doing spirited riding with this bike and you haven't shifted into sport mode, you've already done something wrong. I'll tell you that. The more predictable and slow you are, the better the automatic system works. The more aggressive and spirited you are, the worse it works. It's pretty much trying to predict your speed based off of braking and or it's pretty much trying to guess the gear that you want based off of braking and your speed. So if you come in really hard on the brakes, it'll start downshifting and stuff, but if you're coming in fast on the speed, it might try to choose a lower gear like this, right? And you can't really blame the bike. It does get kind of clunky, but let's see how she pulls. Short shifted, short shifted, short shifted, short shifted, short shifted. So it seems like the DCT really just wants to get you on the highway with as least amount of mechanical leverage as possible, which is fine. Because again, if you really need something more, if you really beg for it, it'll downshift until it gives you the kind of throttle that you're looking for. So if you give it wide open, it'll downshift by itself. But it took a long time right there. So we're gonna go ahead and get into manual now. See how it still took me a little bit of time to get around that person? I'm not gonna say that this is the fastest bike in the world, because it's not. It's not meant to be. I mean, look at the blueprint. You know, it's literally a DCT manual. I mean, automatic, so it doesn't have gears. You know, most people with experience are not going to want that. But if you're looking for something relaxed, easy to ride, maybe you're a newbie and you know you do have some height, this will work well. Albeit, this is what I tell people on the floor, even if they came in to look specifically at this bike. You know, I don't just work for ONYX to try to get people to buy bikes. You know, I hopefully try to get a good fit for them, which is part of why I suggested we start doing videos like these, so I can give people that experience without being there with them. And basically, excuse me, basically, if you're trying to learn on this bike, one thing you're going to lose is the clutch. You're not going to get used to switching gears. You're not going to get used to the clutch. So basically, if you plan on doing this bike to eventually upgrade to another bike that isn't also a DCT, like the Honda Africa Twin or the NM4 or 1100 Rebel DCT, then you're gonna end up at a point where you still need to use the clutch. You'll still need to learn the clutch. If you're not too concerned with that, or you know, you're mainly just wanting to learn how to steer, how to stop first and get over that kind of fear before you introduce a manual to that as well, I also understand that school of thought. How I say it is, you know, you want to have a healthy fear of bikes. If you're tensing up and you know you're constantly tight on the bike, you're not even having fun anymore, man. So while I do push people to learn a clutch if they plan on having different bikes down the line, I also see the benefit of just starting off with something that you can ride that you don't have to think about on the clutch side. It's like starting an automatic car, right? Most driving schools nowadays have automatic cars because people are already almost crashing in automatics. So, you know, why throw in this extra stress of a manual, right? So I understand the different schools of thought. Overall, you know, my opinion, I suggest to go over it with yourself and watch this video. Think about what you want to do. If you already know how to drive manual in the car, you just need to learn how to turn and everything, you should be fine with the manual. If you don't, or you're nervous, I would say this would be a great option for you. So there are the hazards. You do have adjustable traction control, which is another cool thing about this platform that I agree with for a beginner. And ABS. So traction control stops rear wheel slip. ABS stops front and rear brake lock, which is important. Rear brake, fishtail. Front brake, tuck the front. If you know what tuck the front means, man, it means you're going down. A lot of people think over the handlebars. That only happens if you get grip. What's really going to happen in 99% of cases that ABS triggers for a beginner is you're going to grab way too much front brake, lock the front, and instead of slowing down, it's going to skid through the front and eventually bias one way or the other, and you lose the front. So ABS is there to stop that initial front brake lock, and it happens for the rear too, but rear is the least of my worries. You see children on bicycles recover rear brake locks when they do fishtails, so I'm not too concerned with that. I'm pretty concerned with having the front wheel lock up, and I have gone down like that. Overall, this bike is an amazing commuter bike. That's another thing I would say is probably perfect for this thing. Let's say you got your Ducati V4R, crazy street fighter, you know, they're in the garage, and you just want them to get to and back, you know, back and forth from work, something good on gas, something low maintenance that you're not worried about. This is pretty much the bike. It gives me a lot of the same feelings as the DSRX, the Zero DSRX, which is a good thing, just minus the torque and minus the drawback that the Zeros have of range. So if you're looking into a DSRX or some sort of electric sport tourer, and you're looking for something that can do the same thing as far as usability, but not have to worry about charge, this could be a good option. Overall, I like this bike. It is a very niche category, so make sure you know what you're getting into here. Watch this video. Thank you so much for stopping in.